I'm just recording.
All right.
And it might actually be kind of good practice to kind of, you don't even see it if you keep it in your hands, but it does make a huge
Are
difference.
you going to do one?
Do what?
What are we going to
We
shoot?
only have one. That'll pick up well. That when it's here is astonishingly good, and astonishingly good vocal helps.
All right.
Otherwise, people bitch. So I'm like,
Take one.
and dude, I can't like cease. It is the Arts of Capitalist. I'm not wearing my hat actually. I bought this. I'm in post-apocalyptic United States of America. I feel like Ali G.
By the way,
Yeah.
let's break, cut.
Break up.
This is like all focused on your crotch and your head's chopped off. And your head's chopped off here. You want to lift them up a
I
little
think I'm
bit.
sitting too far.
So you sit like this, but when you sit up,
Yeah.
You know?
So if I sit here now, I'm closer in. Yeah. Yeah. There. So we're back at it again. So now you can't see my crotch. I traveling in America. I'm on the West Coast. I was. The scourge of America is the growth, the viral growth of gated communities for middle class, middle-aged white people. I have escaped that, and I find myself in the opposite. I'm in downtown Santa Monica, which is post-apocalyptic, and I got to say I like the vibe even more so because I'm looking up at the walls. It says the truth always happens, and it's on a surfboard. That can only mean one thing. That must mean I'm in the clock tower. I'm with the guru of the hedge fund space, the secret tycoon, the Mr. Steve Drobny. That was pretty good, actually.
thanks you. I want to just do a quick thank you. I want to thank Donald Trump for saving Los Angeles from complete obliteration, sending in the National Guard and the U.S. Marines, or else we wouldn't be here.
That is true. I was in a bar last night, would you believe?
Nah,
And really good bar. And I was sort of, Hannah, if you're watching, I didn't get your Instagram, Hugh Hendry Official. Lovely girl. And she's like, oh, so where are you from? I was like, I'm from the future.
you and Elon.
Me and Elon, well, actually, because I was like, so something, you don't know this, but something happened between now and the future. There was, I'm not allowed to talk about it, but in the future, everyone talks like me and Elon, I guess.
Are you guys on Mars or?
I'm certainly not on Earth. But I was, to your point and connection, I was in a Waymo reporting from the future. I was in a driverless car in Los Angeles, and
Do you know that during the riots in downtown LA, they burned 5 Waymos. 5. That's it.
I know.
When the Lakers win the NBA championship, more cars burn than when the riots happened and the Waymos burned. So the Waymos are burned.
So 5 burned. I broadcast my influencer shtick on Twitter and Instagram. I can't say I was inundated, but there were 3 like honest souls and like, oh my god, they're burning Waymos. You're in LA. Oh, and so I was like, how do I respond to this? And LA is like the stock market is big. It's really, really big.
10 million people, which is considered a tier 3 city in China.
Yeah. Well, not interestingly, but I was writing about I was going to say Kondratiev credit. That's the new title for the next paper. Klondike credit was a paper I was writing on my Substack, and I was talking about the San Francisco of 1848. 1,000 hardy citizens
Looking for gold.
looking for gold.
Yeah.
And the question was, what is the San Francisco? It's like we prepared this. What is the San Francisco of today? And it is those tier 1 Chinese coastal cities whose names I can't even recall.
No. I think San Francisco today is still looking for gold. It is buying NVIDIA chips looking for AGI, hoping that we find God.
So
or the answer, or just the answer. Like we're all looking for the answer. Is it a lot of gold? Is it AGI? Is it driverless cars? Is it Mars? Is it the future? We don't know.
But you know, Steve, what was interesting? It was I was going to say there's nothing interesting about my paper. I've got to stop talking like that. It was a super paper. You should read it. But
Do we need to click here and subscribe?
click, click here. Still thinking about Hannah from last night. The,
How old was she?
I was really surprised actually. Don't know how you're going to take this. She was 30,
Okay.
which is good.
Which is
like
it's good unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio. Then it's above the line.
well, he needs the 3, the other side of the 2, like 23.
No, 27 is the cap.
Really, 27? I
Yeah.
thought it was 23, 24.
No. If you look at the Leo graph, it's 27.
Didn't know.
And I think the latest is like broken out. So maybe there's a, who knows?
The
Maybe you're okay at 30.
but yeah, so my rule is as long as this is fronted with a 3.
Okay.
As long as it's fronted with a 3, okay. So I was like, oh my god, I feared like you. I mean, honey, you look like you're 23, 24.
Do you think that girls in LA lie about their age up?
They do?
Maybe, I don't know.
Anyway, but I was talking. So San Francisco. Well, maybe we can vibe with that a little bit in all seriousness. The gold from San Francisco was high-powered money. It was deposited in banking vaults, and it funded empire. It funded the build-out of the Industrial Revolution on the continent of America, and then we had a disruption. We had internal strife, where we had to bring Alexander Hamilton back to the fore. We had to get rid, I know from another generation, but we had to kind of really, because there was a point where America could be Argentina. There was a point where you had to abolish the plantations and fully industrialize. But in doing so, there was a lot of, strife, and we kind of had to rebuild the American economy, 1870s, 1880s, and the banks were tapped out. There wasn't, like, all the gold had already built, like duplicate railway systems and canals and whatever else. And there was no more gold, and which led to, of course, Frank Baum and the Wizard of Oz, because if the solution was, well, just put something else, count something else as high-powered money. And the output was silver, which was plentiful in the continent of America. It never came to pass because a Scotsman in South Africa, with the leaching, you brought on the South African gold fields, and that was the great. That just doesn't get enough comment. That was the greatest.
Kind of the equivalent of bringing on stable coins today.
Well, that's where I'm heading. But so just finishing that.
You run out of money, just find new ones.
But that was 40% of all gold ever extracted came from that technology, and that's 1898. It's like what, 130 odd years ago.
Yeah.
So to that point, and again, the San Francisco, which is of course plentiful and back flourishing after a kind of hiatus for a while. But the new monetary system, the mine is in Washington, and the mine is Treasury bills, and and it's a spice ledger. I'm thinking Arrakis. Don't you love June? June's just
Atreides.
Yeah, fantastic. How do you pronounce it? Right?
Atreides. It's a
Atreides.
hedge. It's a famous hedge fund run by Gavin Baker.
Well, really. Oh, but I'm talking about it's Arrakis is the spice, spice moon, right? And the US, my argument is that the US have become a spice community, and it was the extraction of treasuries, and it was another empire, the Chinese and the mercantilist empires, which required the treasury. I'm liking this actually. The treasury spice to lubricate world trade. And the treasury spice was the secret ingredient for keeping the exchange rate unchanged for 30 years. So the most important market price in the global universe was distorted by this magic spice, which were treasuries. And so that's why that money in the creation, of course, built the Industrial Revolution on the continent of China. And it looks like Trump 2.0 is the ambition is to bring that to an end. and that's where you come into the stable coin environment. And I think Besant, the Treasury, the jack of all trades secretary.
The adult in the room.
Yeah, it's funny, but it's funny how like Rubini and Besant are like anything else you want me to do? Because I think that Paul Tudor Jones was saying in 6 months' time he'll be running the Fed. Bring it on, you know. And Rubio's his franchise has expanded, so the adults definitely are expanding their portfolio. But the one I don't know if it's a presumption, but one errant thought that I have is, so if you abolish the persistency of U.S. trade deficit, which creates the need for a fiscal deficit, you have to create a new demand for the spice ledger, you know, for the Treasury spice, and that's where you get stablecoin, where you have the repository of the digital. Are you doing anything digitally? I mean, I guess you're doing everything digitally.
Yeah, we do a lot of venture investing in.
Are you a man of mystery, or like what can you say? Like,
I'd have to ask compliance.
Oh God,
You know.
I'm drinking my beer in the West Coast Pacific. I love it. I drink it on the East Coast. I drink it on the West Coast.
So Hugh, we if your listeners want to click below and subscribe and look at the show notes, you and I did an interview in 2011. It's worth watching. The London School of Economics. I watched it recently. It's very funny. And at the time, you were a swashbuckling hedge fund manager with short hair, and I think you were in a suit, maybe.
I was wearing. So I must take the hat off. Like, you know, I had really short hair, and I was just like a
You looked
Gucci.
proper, like you were.
I was a Gucci pickup.
It looked like you had investors.
But it was a kind of cool. It was a cool suit.
But I asked you at the time. I said, "What is more important to you? Returns or YouTube hits?" And here we are, 14 years later, and now we know the answer.
It's Instagram. I spent all my time on Hugh Hendry Official. I'm hoping to develop it as
Click, subscribe.
Hannah, click, click. Where are you, honey?
Would Hannah be impressed by your subscriber count?
The
Is that a no?
I can't say it's. I'm prevaricating because I've thought about this too much, and it kind of there's a link back into that period. I think it was 2010 in front of, and you know, it felt we were presenting at the London School of Economics, and I mean, do a Google search or actually go on your AI. And ask about Bugsy Malone, which were gangster movies, where the characters were kids. They were like 12-year-olds, and they were wearing their father's suits.
Yeah.
And the LSE thing was all these really smart super kids who now like not only have more probable YouTube hits than me, but certainly more zeros in their bank accounts, and we were pretending to have a hedge fund, a fund-to-fund conference, of which there was a time when, like, so what people don't know is, like, Steve ran, like, the most kind of, like, the hardest thing. Can I just say something about your conference? Sure. Because it truly was an astonishingly rare event that was built on a logic that I got immediately. Because get this, so there were no clients invited. I mean, there were your clients, but no kind of commercial clients of the hedge funds. It was macro only, and it was the CIO level. It was like everyone else, fuck off, no one else. And the play function was a CIO is going to stand up in a room full of his competition, and he's going to present his best idea. And to the uninitiated, you go, who's going to do that? And that was the genius, because people lined up to do it. So why would you volunteer to do that? You would do it because if you're wrong, the room is not going to show you mercy. The room is going to say, you are wrong, my friend, for X, Y, Z, and it's going to be detailed dismantling of your thesis in the way and the manner that, and I think we mentioned Elon, I think Elon may be suffering from this, the presence of too many sycophants and not enough many people to say, stop.
You know what that's called? That's called Twitter.
It's called Twitter. I like Twitter.
If people spend too much time on X or Twitter,
you
can tell by the way they talk and the things they say. It's like, you spend too much time on Twitter, because it is not subjective. It is a certain cohort of people that spend all their time there.
Is that the thing? I haven't heard.
That's because you're in it.
So do I sound like, do I talk? I don't think I talk like that. I'm from the future, and I'm not.
That's what they say to themselves too. And by the way, do you know the best way to sell something, like to sell an investment product?
Well, it's going to be teas.
No, you sell the future.
Oh yeah, teas.
Yeah, someday we'll have annual artificial general intelligence, AGI.
And
Give me $100 billion, and it'll be worth unlimited amount of money in the future.
I hear that can transform $1 million into $80 million.
But anyway, back to you.
No, but
back to you.
But to that point, that's my Instagram issue. That tease that future. You could be like me. People are like, well, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, living on St. Bart's, podcasting's not a bad life.
I'm radiating and broadcasting happiness. I am.
And by the way, so it's just, you may not know this, but I still host those conferences.
You do?
You just don't get invited. We do them in Austin, we do them in Abu Dhabi, we do them in Taos, we do them in all kinds of cool places. But anyway.
I heard they're not the same since I stopped turning up.
They just got a little more upgrade.
And anyway, again, click on this button because I have a book.
No, but hold on. You are evolved and you have outperformed your former self, because now you host a conference in St. Bart's, which is a way cooler location.
That's true. It's a camp.
So people can pay a lot of money to stay in your house.
Yeah. And other houses, Camp 3.0, August 17th to 22nd. It's not too late.
Click here.
Click.
Buy a ticket right now. Before they're all on. Do you get a free set of kitchen knives if you sign up right now?
I tell you what, you sign up, and I'm going to give you an As the Capitalist hat. They're really expensive.
Oh, where's my Hugh Henry hat? I want my Hugh Henry
I'm going to
hat.
get the printers. I'm busy.
But honestly, if you go back to 2011 to that London School of Economics interview, when I ask you, do you want to be a hedge fund manager, do returns matter or do clicks matter? I don't think you answered. We'll have to go back and look at the tape. But I think the answer now is that clicks matter, and you've evolved with the world. And I remember very specifically in August 2017, your hedge fund flipped from bearish to bullish. And you said, this is the trade. Stocks for the next couple of years are going to go straight up. And in hindsight, you were dead right. But all your investors redeemed because they viewed you as the diversifying strategy or the tail hedge or whatever. And you were just in misery at my house August 2017 because the end was nigh. And you knew it, but you had to make that decision, which is seems like a major decision. And then here you are, you're almost Kardashian-like now, right?
Kardashian, but without the followers. But also we can tie.
But you do have the clothing line.
I do have the clothing line. Well, I've got the hats. I've got the swag. But we can tie that in. So AUM, my new AUM is the followers. But back
31,000.
31,562 on YouTube. 97,800 on
Substack and Substack.
And Substack, I've got I think about 8,000. I've got between Patreon and Substack, I have crossed over. You probably understand this is a networking number of 800. Once you have 800 people who are willing to pay for you, there's a kind of a neuronic or moronic neuro effect, and it that's when you've got to get through it.
Well, you see all the journalists and all the smart people are moving to Substack right now, right?
But it's no one understands TAM. I have a tiny TAM. My total addressable market is tiny. So one thing I'm trying to reach.
What is your TAM? People that
people that
macro on St. Bart's.
People, and then people that would actually subscribe. That's your TAM. Your TAM is people who would actually pay, people who would come to St. Bart's, and it's not for everyone. It's, you know, the cheapest price is $5,000. The most expensive is 25,000. But we live in a world of exuberance. But again, back to your point, like, so 2010 or 11, the choice was between AUM and YouTube clicks, if you will, and something was going on behind the surface, which you would have been familiar with, but I'd profited from 2008, and I'd profited in 2003, so I'd kind of bookended two momentous periods in the macro world. I'd caught the emergence of gold in '03, made 50, and I managed, in '07 I was forbidden from doing the CDOs and the Big Short, and so I had to play it into fixed interest, and that paid out in 2008, and I made 32%. And so the shock was in the middle of 2009, I was down to my last $50 million. I mean, not my $50 million, but $50 million in the fund, and the economics were challenging. And I was confronted by the suits, and they came in and they said, do you want to manage $1 billion? And I was like, hey, I'm thinking about the carry. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, because I wanted to be someone that people could have the confidence in, not giving $1 million as a dare, but like 100 million after a due diligence inquiry. I wanted to be that person. And so I committed to it, and they said, but it'll be painful, because in essence we will have to take the you out of this, and we'll have to take the clicks out of it for you to grow the AUM. And so I had agreed to it, and then I actually think we met, and that recording was in the month of January, and I don't know what the trade was, but oh my God, I was down like 5 or 6% coming into that. And the last thing I wanted to do was fucking talk to you on a stage with Bugsy Malone and like 18-year-old kids wanting my autograph. And so I was kind of, if you watch it again, and I'm snarling to the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I hate me, I hate you, I hate everyone. So I was miserable. And we've gone full circle now. I'm no longer miserable, and I have a new AUM. But even things like the silliness of Instagram is a confrontation with an algorithm, and it's an obstacle, and it's a puzzle, and every day is like, well, what if I do this and what if I do that? So I don't know, but it fills my little jam jar with little rocks of joy. Even doing this is fun, you know.
Totally. So what is the best part about being an influencer?
I mean, let me get there and I'll tell you. What was the best part around it?
By the way, imagine if you were still long gold.
Yeah, I'm imagining. I mean,
what was it in '03? Like $300?
Yeah.
What is it now? 3,000? 300?
Yeah, it's just gone up 10 times. Like, kind of versus Bobby Digital, kind of boring, you know.
Yeah. Have you seen the Coinbase commercial of house prices of Bitcoin?
No.
It's pretty good.
But to your point, I no longer invest other people's money in the future,
which is like freeing, right?
Which is
allows you to be you.
Yeah, but it's also the best money racket. I mean, it's better than being a gangster. I mean, there's like so much money you make. Like the best gig in the world is managing other. I mean, isn't it?
Software's pretty
lucratively.
Good. Software's pretty good. Software. Google's done all right.
Google's done all right. But you've seen that chart.
Google's underperforming Meta or whatever.
No, underperformed. There was another IPO at exactly the same time, and it's outperformed Google.
Build-A-Bear?
I don't know that one. Domino's Pizza.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You got to see that.
Domino's is outperforming.
And now let's look at the chart. Wow, this is magic. Like magic things happen, but yeah.
But what about market cap?
Yeah, this is your like turning $1 into 80 or turning a 30 billion into 3 trillion or whatever. Yeah. But stylistically, it's interesting. And again, the people, we are all eating the wrong stuff. Stop eating pizza.
Stop buying pizza with Bitcoin.
So, yeah, don't do that. So I invest my reputation in asset classes. And about 2 years ago, I came on board with Bitcoin, and I invested in my reputation. Now, and I I had a fun thing. Remember Raoul?
Sure. He's crushing it with Real Vision.
So crushing it.
Click on Real Vision.
No, stay here, stay on this platform. Oh, he's so rich, doesn't need you. I need you, and I'm more fun. The Bitcoin. So you don't keep up with my influencers, do you? But I did a YouTube interview with a kid the other week. I said kid, I think he could have been my father, and. I haven't told you this actually. I am seriously thinking about selling globally.
Your St. Bart's house.
My St. Bart's house, yeah.
If you want to rent it, go on VRBO.
No, it's too expensive for that. Like, go on my website, go to Hugh Hendry Official, and there'll be a link, or go to come to St. Bart's. I have to warn you, it's $90,000 a week.
Can we just also tell the audience that I have no commission on hat sales, home rentals, or subscriptions?
You're only doing it for the vibes. You're only doing it for the vibes.
So you're going to sell the house?
I'm thinking about selling the house. It's like a man needs a mission.
But it's your identity, the house.
It is a bit, but it's just a dumb house. So if I did it, and it's a big if, because I'm trying to work out whether I'd have to structure it as a sale and lease, whatever. But if I did it, one of the motivations would be to put 10 million into Bitcoin. I would do it.
At 100,000.
I think it's good to. I think so. In the real world, so you're asking about influencers and stuff like. In the real world, right? People just think prices are made up, like house prices, like this, the value of this building. Like someone will say it's 80 million, like, oh right, okay. They won't actually, like, well, why, you know? And so Bitcoin at 100,000, people just think that's a number, and they'll compare it from whence it came. And of course we try and do something more. There's a beauty and there's an art. Economics is a living mechanisms and organism, and things exist for a reason. And so when you're looking at an asset class, I don't know if I can't say this is right or wrong, but it's right or wrong for me. I look at the total system market value of the asset class, and I call Bitcoin, because Steve's just like, you know, he's lost some of his childlike wonder, but so I have to give things names. So I call Bitcoin Bobby Digital.
Okay. It's clever.
And Bobby Digital is, because it gets down to the community, you know, it's $2 trillion total system-wide market value. And
3 trillion for all crypto, so it's 2/3 of all crypto.
Exactly, and for now it's like we don't care about everything else. It's just the Bitcoin, and gold is more like 10 times greater.
Okay.
20 trillion dollars. And we don't, as speculators, we don't have the luxury of 1,000 years to let Bobby D kind of demonstrate proof of purpose. But what we've done is we've given it kind of 15 years, and we've thrown a hell of a lot at it.
Yeah.
We really have thrown a lot, and it's stayed the course, and I think it's demonstrating that it has a lot of the properties we associate with gold, and perhaps even more. And when we come...
Just slightly higher vol.
So, which is maturity or immaturity, which is finding a wall of discovery. It has to be cloaked with that volatility. And also, I write a lot about I have been writing about the death of money, like monetary systems die every 100 years. So if you go back 100 years, it was the death of the gold system, the gold standard.
Before that, it was the death of shells.
It was, well, before that,
and
silver
coin.
Well, actually before, so if you go back, and forgive me, I'm going to answer this a little bit seriously, but if you go back 100 years-ish before that, it was the renunciation of non-gold standards, because the Brits, who were the dominant empire, had come off gold to defeat Napoleon. And in terms of geopolitics, that worked. But 10 years after the Napoleonic Wars, there was a rash of credit expansion globally, and there were various, catastrophes, typically in South America and whatever. And the UK went back onto the gold standard. So we've got these
Hard
evolving.
money inflation.
Hard money, no,
Money
yeah,
inflation.
exactly. Um, and so I think we're in that 100-year slipstream, and the money system, like we mentioned earlier, we've essentially replaced San Francisco and Klondike and South African gold mines with the spice ledger in Washington and treasuries.
So just to recap, you're gonna sell your baby in St. Bart's for $10 million to try to turn it into 100 million.
And will
And
I?
then what? And then
no,
what?
no. So I was trying to pip that. Because I was going to say, absolutely. If I could say sincerely, I'm going to lean into the camera sincerely. Should that all transpire, and that is a damn big, silly should. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, I will not be 100 million times happier.
Maybe 10 times.
Maybe a little. I'll be smug. I have to say, I'll be smug.
Okay.
But it'll be like, and will I have achieved something? Kind of. There's an achievement, and it's a game.
Would you sell the Bitcoin then
Yeah.
and turn it into dollars to do what?
Well, I'm from the future, and I'm not allowed to discuss the future.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the future and things you're allowed to discuss, you were on Bloomberg a year or two ago and you said 5 people understand money. Who are those 5 people? Can you reveal it here?
Again, I'm not at
Can you just give us one?
Can I give you one?
I think I know who you think it is.
I know who it is, but I'm gonna throw a new name into the mix just because it's topical just now. But I think Scott's got a pretty damn good understanding. Scott Besson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't scoff. I listen when Scott speaks.
Yep.
Um,
So do the
no.
markets.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, no, but
So does Donald.
now the person that like my idol is Stan Druckenmiller. Does Stan understand money? Don't know. Okay. Does that make him any less of a person? Absolutely not. So and so the A is a good tagline. It's ChatGPT tells me it's a CTA. Do you know what it's I don't even know what CTA stands for. But the CTA, so we're talking about financial influencing. You need to start with something like I slept with your mother. It's a what the fuck exclamation mark did I just read, and you stop clicking.
You learned that from Mr. Beast.
Well, that from my curiosity and my personal assistant called ChatGPT. And then that has to be bookended at the end of the CTA. Now, you're all telling me, actually, I'm good. C means is, T, D, and there you go. So now we understand what it is.
What is that?
But I know, but
I thought you were going to say Stan was the CTA.
I'll give you an example, but write this down. It's a CTA. So you're giving instruction, you're telling people, it's actually, with dating, it's another good, but giving instructions to ladies, they actually like it, like, sit over there. No, I mean that with respect.
You know who else likes that?
With respect.
Billionaires. They like to
Yeah.
be told what to do because they're used to their assistants and their
Yeah.
staff telling them where to go.
That's probably why I'm I don't know if they're billionaires, but the rich folk kind of.
Yeah.
I thought I was a jester. I'm actually I resonate.
You're like a glorified assistant.
Thank you for that. If I was as glorified as ChatGPT, the thought process coming back. So Stan and the 5 people is.
So Stan's one, Scott's one.
No, I said
You're
no,
one.
Remember, I said
And then there's 2 left.
I said Stan.
Am I one?
No, I said Stan. You're
No.
one. I said you Stan. It's not.
Does it? Okay.
It's not.
So you and Scott.
And that Scott is right, but me saying that Stan is
It's
not.
a good thing that Scott's in charge of the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who, I mean, a lot of stuff gets made up with the passage of time, but does Scott bring the sterling trade to Soros?
Scott brought it to Stan, Stan put it on, George sized it up.
Yeah. So the originator, so he kind of knows what he's talking about. You know? But me saying about Stan is an example of the killer hook that makes you stop. And me talking about there's only 5 people in finance that understand money. It is that, and what it's shorthand.
This is a social media influencer trick.
But it's also an intellectual trick because it's shorthand for saying To the good folk back home, you would be surprised at just how few people can actually articulate with full reasoning how money works. And as Stan demonstrates, it's not necessary to run a phenomenal hedge fund. But I would say, back to Scott, it damn helps if you're running the US Treasury.
The US dollar,
Yeah,
US debt,
and
taxes,
and so I'm sitting there.
trade negotiations.
Yeah, but I'm sitting there, and I guess I'm always ordering pizza from Domino's,
With Bitcoin.
ordering a Waymo, navigating the conflict in LA.
In the future.
I mean, has he been out to the point? Have you seen him surfing?
Who?
Scott?
No.
Because I hear everyone else's, all the other, not finance people, but all the
The futurists.
futurists.
They're all out there. Stan's out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's surfing.
He's not selling. He's definitely not selling. So, so the 10 times in Bitcoin trading $1 million is me saying that I think it's a proclamation that volatility will subside in Bitcoin, that its terminal destination is to be thought of as gold, and therefore it has to take on the mantle and the total market size of gold. And when we do think of death money or replacements or enhancements, and they may be a function of, I mean, the hooks and links here, right? These may be a function of having Scott at the Treasury. We kind of discussed stablecoin. So another wisdom is when you're investing, it really, really damn helps if you've got the US government behind your sale and blowing you forward. That really helps. I mean, again, ask Elon.
For at least the next 3.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you know, give me three days, you know, and put me there. But that is, so I've got government sponsorship. It seems to, and I can conceive of it featuring as an integral component of the new machinations of money in a manner that gold is not being thought of. So why? My question to the audience: why does not, and why have I gone Shakespearean? Why does Bitcoin not challenge the market system value of gold? And in fact, there's a speculator. So like your money, you've got to work damn hard to accumulate savings, and then and hedge funds are all about really sweating it. Like it's like, yeah, I'm not here to, you know, you're not here to make 8%. You're here to make 88%. You know, 800%. And so with gold, it's sitting at $20 trillion. So and it just there's something. It's physics is a realm which I think the conception and thinking of should help. It should form part of investing. Again, because people here, they've got their portfolios, they're trying to work out what to do. And when you've got something which is 20 trillion, that's a lot of mass. That's really heavy. It's a big fucking planet.
It's under the airport in Zurich, right?
Yeah. And so I'm just saying, can it triple?
Sure.
Well, you know, you said sure to me. So for me, I would say, I can't say no.
The
but
biggest,
really
the biggest risk to Bitcoin is Michael Saylor.
We'll come back to that. No, I didn't mean Bitcoin tripling. I meant gold tripling.
Oh, it's from gold tripling.
Can gold
Well, it just did.
from 20 trillion.
It's at 60 trillion, sure.
Because it tripled from 7 trillion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, you actually change our universe when an asset when something which has that mass triples.
In value.
But it's a tripling of a mass. Yeah, it may be value, but it has implications for everything else.
Gold triples in value from 20 trillion to 60 trillion, but the mass doesn't change because it's just the price. How is the world different?
You talk about so again, let's be loose. I'm saying
it's not. But imagine if
value
Bitcoin
and
triples. Imagine if Bitcoin triples from 100,000 to 200,000.
So first of all, okay. So gold went from 7 to 20 trillion, tripled. Okay, 7 trillion. There are 6 trillion notes and bonds, U.S. notes and bonds. There are only 6 trillion treasuries with any duration outstanding. Okay, So gold was slightly bigger than that. I can't think of maybe the European stock market is $6 or $7 trillion. The US stock market is $50 trillion. Total US treasuries, the cash plus the duration, is $36 trillion. Okay. So gold tripling and going to 60 is bigger than the US equity market. And the US equity markets have gone up 60 times in the last 40 years. It's not like they've done nothing for the longest time. So I find that really impossibly difficult, whereas Bitcoin tripling or 10xing, it can happen without having profound ramifications for the rest of the world. And I like things where not a lot has to happen. Like our world doesn't have to change. It's, Domino's pizzas outperformed Google, but our life is still shitty pizza. It's still not good for you, and life goes on. And Google's like, yeah, we're like $2 trillion. We don't care. So that's playfulness in investment.
But this is kind of unfair.
Life is unfair.
No, I know, but like your investing style is unfair because you go to the future, you look at the price, and then you come back and tell us.